Oh, we need to start.
Which one is it?
Just hit enter, it should start.
Okay.
Terry.
Call to order here. Mr. Isbell, will you go ahead and give us the invitation, please, sir?
Bow with me, please. Father, we just thank you, Lord, for today. Lord, we thank you for the gift that you give us of life each and every day. Father, I just pray right now that you be with us, Lord. And Father, I pause a moment just to pray that you be with the family of Ron Slant and the terrible them, put your arms around each one of them, Lord. And Father, as we do the work of the county, Lord, may you bless this work. May you give us guidance and wisdom. And I look forward to a great day. Thank you, Jesus. Amen.
Amen. I will entertain a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor? Aye. All right, that's the least amount of arguing we're going to have today. So, Mr. Baker?
This will be quick. First of all, pardon not being able to be here all day yesterday, so that's good. I really appreciate, and I have to go back and watch again, but the fee-based, the fact that you raised the construction or the building fees, outstanding. You know, it wasn't that long ago that our governor, Phil Haslam, was saying that we needed to have gas tax increases because it was a fee-based thing, but honestly, people that are using things, they should pay for them. No different than we're talking about growth and having construction, pay for. That's how it should be. People use stuff, they pay for it. People who don't, they don't. I mean, that's right out of a Republican playbook. You know, we don't give stuff for free. This isn't a welfare state. So anyhow, so I appreciate the work and the conversations. This is one of the most important things we do all year. So I really appreciate you all taking time off from your jobs and stuff to be here. So thanks.
Thank you, sir. Okay, I've got a couple items on my report here. First, I just want to pause for a personal note. It just hit me yesterday. We're all aware of what happened with Mr. Blanton's family, and he came in here and did his duty, which I think was way above and beyond. And I also just think it is important to have perspective as we go through stuff like this. I called a couple of y'all earlier. I woke up at 3:30 in the morning. I could not get it out of my head. Just to maintain some level of perspective about what we're dealing with here. What we are dealing with, as Mr. Baker said, is very important. But there are things which are more important. And so I'm going to try to maintain that thought today, Terry, as you and I will inevitably get into some arguments, which is good. But
I would like to reframe that to beneficial discussion on the topic, because that's what we're here for.
That's right. And just to maintain some level of perspective as we go into that. Now, understanding that as well, thank you for letting me say that note. I think we all recognize that we are unlikely to get through everything today. So I would like to propose and then entertain a motion to set a, I don't know that we need, I think I need to say it, but without any issue here, I would like to propose that we set a date for an additional 4 to 5 hours on the 16th to tie off our budget efforts in the evening. Are there any issues with the 16th?
Will that be when we discuss the actual detail of the operations, not just the new?
No, it will not be. We won't be doing that.
At all?
No.
Okay.
We won't be. I mean, sometimes there's some level where you kind of start to get into it, and we had some of that yesterday, but that won't be the purpose of it. I'm expecting today that we'll get through salary, and that we'll hopefully get through capital projects, but, there may be some tweaks. There's going to be likely some long-term planning. We'll try to get through all of this, but I understand that we may not, and then we also need to give the departments time once we submit our, the budget for any kind of additional asks that they may have, something we may have missed. So I would propose the 16th for this.
How early do you want to do it? Because you could do it.
4 o'clock.
Can everybody make 4?
Yeah, we have 4 o'clock. 4 4 o'clock on the 16th?
Well, the only thing I have is we've got scholarships that night at Gallatin High School, but I'm sure somebody else can take my place.
Okay. So, 4 o'clock on the 16th it is?
I'm gonna do 4 to 8.
Yeah, 4 to 8. We'll do 4 to 8:30. Give it 4.5 hours. Or 9. So it'll probably end up being 11.
Well, we have 14, I think 6 hours you get.
That's what we'll try.
It was about 6 hours last year.
All righty. Yeah, and it's normal. I mean, it's normal. This is really almost a 3-day thing. So, and, you know, we're doing a 9-figure budget, so. Okay, go ahead.
Let's talk about a couple of things. Several of you have been on the budget committee for several years. Back in 2022, I was a proponent of the salary survey, and I know a lot of you don't necessarily talk about funding the salary survey, but as you can see last night, or yesterday, we were using this one for all Middle Tennessee in a 22. So when we get to my budget, I would like to discuss the possibility of updating the salary survey. Not to say you're going to fund it, but at least it'll give you an idea. Today you're funding things, but it will give you an idea, are you funding them appropriately if you do one? And it won't be as expensive, but that's something I would like to discuss at that point. But since we did pass this out, and I was given a free copy of this because we participated, I would like to kind of discuss what we're actually looking at here to make sure everybody's actually understanding what we're looking at. Because it was passed out mid-meeting, and I've got a copy, see if we got any more copies. See if I got another copy I gave. I think you gave me the extras. They're right here, so. Does anybody else need another copy of it right now? Yeah. Yeah, did anybody bring yesterday's packet? Should have been in here. Yeah. Did you bring yesterday's packet? I was going to give you guys the other one, but I'm going to run one short.
I can send out a copy in your office.
Yeah, can we, I can wait. Okay, we'll make sure I don't have one with a bunch of notes on it. Yeah. Okay, he's got one, so here's this one, and then John's got one. What this is basically, the one that did our salary survey does several counties, and they actually do what's called surveys. So they did the surveys of medium, large, small, and all counties. The only thing I've included in here to make it simpler is large counties, because you would be comparing yourself to, I don't know, Athens, Fayetteville, Fairview. You're not really comparable, not the same cost of living. So if you go through it, and you can see several notes at the top, but it's always just got like your EMS people, your fire people, which are, you know, they're fairly simple. They show you the medium, the top, for the salaried or the top. But let's go down to one, and I'll be happy to look at finance or planning or any of them. But if you look, let's kind of talk about the numbers you're actually seeing. Let's just look at chief accounting manager.
Page number?
I'm sorry, it's probably,
The numbers at the bottom right.
yeah, it's page number 2. I'm sorry, I didn't realize the numbers were there. So if we just kind of look at that, and if you look at stuff and labels, and it says, it's the third set down, it says administration, finance, and that's an easy one to follow because we have an employee here, and they're an 18-year employee, so let's kind of follow what we're looking at. Generally, an employee anywhere from 7 to 10 years will be fully experienced and should be trying to approach your bid point. So if this is your median point for the average, and you're assuming that it's correct, then in 7 to 10 years, that person should be somewhere around the 102. Before that, they should be below. After that, they should be above. If you come over the next set of columns going from right to left, you see the 139. That is the medium, not the top, but the average for the top scale. So if you've got a 30-year person and they're paid toward market, they should be approaching that number. That's what we were talking about yesterday. We're looking at the first, but you really kind of need to take it in context. The other thing you need to realize is if you've got professional employees, when you bring them in fully professional. So a lot of times you even hire those at the midpoint to give you kind of a lot of cities, counties allow for hiring at the midpoint on professional employees because you're hiring them in already fully trained. They've got 5, 10, 15, 20 years experience. Usually don't hire them in at 0. So it kind of gives you an idea. If we look at the top, kind of an easy one to follow would be like, you've got your EMA director on the right, and those are the ones that are generally averaged out everywhere. They don't usually follow the same. So, I'm sorry, on page 1. If you start from the top, it can kind of shows you, because it's public safety EMA, the 109513, The 109,513 was the average of all EMA directors for the large entities at 2023, at the end of 2023.
I'm sorry, Mr. Long, I'm trying to find it.
Oh, on page one, far top, 109, there you go. That is the average for all those large entities, or the median, in the large entities for an EMA director, an EMS director, all the way down the road. They got your AMTs, EMS, paramedics. And if you notice, there's not as much scaling up because these don't vary quite as much. Then below that, your fire departments and your police. The thing you're going to end up with this, it has some large categories, but it's not going to address us specifically. What I was reading you from this one is all the way back in 22, but it does address our county specifically, but it's quite dated. That's why I mentioned if you want fine tuning, then really you get the consultants to come back and do something like this.
I guess I'm going to challenge a little bit. Quite dated, 2 years old. I mean, pay in the private sector is not substantially increasing. I mean, I guess I don't. 22 to me, 2022 is still compared to 2024 because, like, I mean, the job's a job, and I mean, a lot of private sector things don't. Just because the government does crappy things and increases, you know, fiat money, which causes inflation, doesn't mean that their wages increase. I mean, that's reality. So I guess I wouldn't discount 2022. I mean, I think it's
market driven. So as you're saying, some of them may have increased very little. Some of them will increase significantly based on the market. So it's kind of a market when me or you go out to buy something. Some things are the same as they were in 22, 21, all the way back. But some things, especially food, is
I'm not increasing. So you screwed everything up. I mean, that's because of fiat money.
And then some of your feed places will charge you more. It's according to what you're getting. It's all market-based, supply and demand. So that's why I'm saying it's kind of dated because some of those may have actually stayed flat, maybe even went the opposite direction.
But I guess I wouldn't discount 2022. That's just what I'm saying. We're talking less than 2 years.
But when it's the most useful is we can take the numbering because they have a scaling number to 14 or 15, and it can kind of compare internal employees to other internal. Kind of like yesterday, there was an employee that you guys had a question, we can compare them to other offices based on the same scale numbers.
Here's the thing, it's given us, sorry, go ahead. But even this is only 6 or 7 months old. Let's be realistic, so it's not like old.
But this one's not dated a whole lot. I received it back in January based on 23 numbers.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. This is 6 months old.
So that's not good you're going to get right there.
Yeah, that's where I was going to get at. There is no perfect metric. You know, we did this last year. We did benchmarking last year. We had we did that internally. We had 3 different. You know, we used I think 3 or 4 different counties. This is superior to that. It's more granular. I mean, you all did that by yourselves. So this is done externally.
We can't get the data now, so
yeah. So this is done externally. You know, this is the it's pretty good, and so and you know, and it helped us a lot yesterday because instead of like trying to ballpark and you know, we actually have something to go off of. So to your point, is it a little bit old? I mean, but it's close enough, you know.
Well, I'm saying we get to finance to get really granular for next year. We can actually take this and get this group that actually did this to actually update this.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be that much money. It's not that we may want to discuss that.
Yeah,
we will give you guys something. I'm not saying go on to a salary scale, but it will show you what the market looks like.
Would we go back and put it in finance budget or in commission budget?
I would probably, either one would be fine. You just got to determine who's doing commission budget, who's going to do the POs out of it, who's going to run the site, how do you want to do that?
Well, I want you to, I would.
Probably have to go through finance.
I mean, you're the one that would have to do it, there's no one else.
Well, we would supply their numbers, and we would want to recruit them to do most of the legwork, because sometimes we don't have staffing. Anytime we do a project, we pull off something better. We pull off something else and we get pushed back.
Yeah, hey, before we know here, just want to take a vote to suspend the rules so that we can have these conversations.
Second.
All in favor? Okay.
Well,
sorry, go ahead. I just wanted to be.
You're correct, but as I'm saying, make sure because you are 7 members, and me as the secretary by law should. Do you have to suspend for that? That's what I'm wondering. I don't think actually.
I don't know. I mean, we need to be able to have these conversations.
I got you.
So I don't want to be.
And I need to finish up my time because I had to 8:40 and the EMS is waiting back there. But I just wanted to go over this since it was passed out midstream. Or do I have to 9? I started 8:40.
Yeah, you got 15 more minutes. Take your time.
Okay. But if we have no other questions, that's what I'm saying. If we have no other questions, you may want to go ahead and start with EMS because I believe I thought Mr. Poss was back there a minute ago. we can discuss any of the other items. Is there any of the small departments, because you've got.
We can do IT, because we had ended with IT yesterday, and I think that's one that we can do relatively quickly. We can just knock that one out.
Now, IT, when he sent us up his email, he said, can you put 6% cost of living? So I think we put his cost of living at 5, so he wasn't clear he wanted the additional 6.
Okay. Well, we've
They already went over his budget, they're going to adjust it.
We're just gonna do the adjustments.
Yeah, they already went over his budget.
And he's already had it, but then he'll get a chance to review it. But I would like to.
Can I ask, with IT being under the mayor, have you reviewed their budget? I mean, it's under you, you approved
Yeah,
their budget?
yeah, but I don't have the details on it.
So you didn't review it, Deb?
No.
Nobody did, okay.
So, I think we were doing a pretty good job of this yesterday, so we did the 6%, 5%. But what I'd like to potentially do is take just a look at those salaries and see if we're within market. We're doing it for everybody, and sometimes they're low, sometimes they're high, and we're trying to be fair, so I want to do it with these guys too, even though they didn't ask for it.
Page 2.
Well, I did not look at it. I thought I had to highlight it.
Dave, can we take a look at some of these? We have some.
Yeah, that's what we're pulling right now. Information system, it says the average start pay for the information directors in 2023, IT director was $136,383.
Let's get to their page first. Hold on. Where are we on the budget pages?
Oh, it would be on page
47. 47, and what is their A number?
18.
for IT, they're towards the top.
15.
15, all right. Thank you.
So, we're in there.
Hey, Jeff, if you can help find the numbers, and I'll keep looking at this when they ask for the, like, the page numbers, because we'll always be bunching around to this today. So it's 136, 383, so that was in market. The next one, you have a network administrator.
That's like your network tech.
That's your network manager, 93, they're going up there. You got a network manager, 93. They'll go up to 93. Network manager, 93,000 right there.
Okay, they're above.
They're above the start, but as I'm saying, these are the medium for 8, 5, 6. And so you kind of look at their start.
81,000.
81, so, I mean.
He's pretty good at that.
Good.
Yeah,
Database administrator, they don't have, because they don't have alerts. The alerts database is done through us, and we actually outsource it. Then you have an application analyst at IT, technician, you have user support team, is 53,602.
So they're close, maybe a little bit. I mean, that's what we're finding here, is just that.
GIS coordinator and GIS technician, they don't have those. So I think
I think with the technician, these guys might need a little bump, like maybe $1,000 each. IT technician, each of those guys probably need $1,000 each. We're trying to get them a little closer.
because they haven't been there that long, so you should drop below that median a little bit.
A little.
So I think probably you're looking, if you brought them 1,000, should be pretty close. What is, so 53 should be about 7-year person.
I'm not throwing stones here, but we're seeing this several spots, right, where like your guys at the head are at, or sometimes
way above.
and then the worker bees are, I'm not throwing stones, I mean, we're just.
You need to look at the about dates, because about dates will tell you how many years. Somebody around 7 years should be tapping toward that median.
I mean, I think that's.
7 to 10 years should be tapping the median.
Probably appreciate that.
These guys are not.
They're not
Years, so they're.
But maybe,
Yeah,
there's
they're not
something we
gonna-
don't understand. I always look at the dollars as contributions and contribute, what they contribute. Maybe we don't know. I feel uneasy doing this without the budget here, or without them here.
Well, they can get it, we did it yesterday, I'm just trying to.
But I'm just saying, for footnotes, but we don't know what's going on. I don't know who these people are, but maybe it's a new person, or maybe.
But no, the rate right there is what I'm saying.
2 years,
But
1
I'm
year.
just saying, we don't know. We're just throwing, and maybe they need more. I don't
be here every day for
We don't have the
lunch.
tools.
All we can do is use the rubrics that we have, and if they're gonna get their chance to come in and make their case either direction. I mean, if we're gonna do it with some, which we did,
Oh, I know.
we need to do it with all of them.
And I thought about it, and I was like, oh.
If you're gonna have the 4 hours on the 16th, then we'll just call back, we can schedule it for a second hearing.
Are we good with this one?
Evaluation.
Before we go to the EMS, are we good with this one?
I think it'd be okay.
All right.
You wanna look at the operational, I think it was pretty much,
Yeah, we can look at operational, close this out, and this one.
I didn't see anything unusual in Robert's budget when he did the operations. Yeah.
So it's now.
So, let's reduce it.
We did.
Oh, you reduced it already?
Did Robert ask
Oh,
for that?
that's about 50, I got that 50%.
Because if we do reduce on those, we probably need to ask him, but she said Robert did, because those are contracts to run all the way from the Munis application, Kronos, all the way to the network and all the servers.
All right.
And all the virus protections.
And at what point were we gonna go back and revisit all the computers that we need to update for the new Windows? Because we said we would talk to
Yeah,
IT. Are we pushing that to?
I think we'll push that to 16, because that's in there, but I, like that in this concept.
I mean, that's a big, I don't know how big it is or how many computers we've got. You have the fixed access?
What now?
You have the fixed access?
It's only for items over $5,000,
So we don't know.
Because if we were tracking, I'm sorry, 7,500, because if we were tracking all those, we'd have to have a person that.
Yeah,
Can we ask them for a list before the 16th?
is that reasonable?
This is the thing you've got. Most of the departments buy their own computers. IT handles things such as your servers and your network. They will provide specs to the
You
department.
should be able to count it just from getting like a ping check on all of his,
No,
all
They're gonna have
of
to-
his network.
But I send somebody down to look at the actual machine after that.
If they come in and.
He paints that he'll see the machine and the response and the numbers, but
Yeah.
he's gonna have to actually go pull up the windows and tell what's on that machine. Go down there and open up the machine.
Let's see if we can, I think
It
it's
should be
I think
a
it's
big
a fair
number.
thing to try.
Can you send them an email?
If there's a good reason why he can't do it,
Yeah, they wanna know an inventory of machines that need to be replaced this coming.
okay, he's
Or
texting me
actually,
now.
while he's at it, can you give us the inventory of the computers with a check on which ones we
Yeah,
got, so we know.
he's texting him now to try to get.
To be honest, they do try the inventory because we have tags, but I don't know how.
Oh, they do have inventory.
The other one, inventory tag.
They've got inventory.
I knew they must have, but they get audited for those audits all the time.
Well, they also put in tags on our machines, but I wasn't sure how much detail they got on.
All right, we ready to do for each?
Let me ask one question before we go on. David, this has different job descriptions than Robert's.
Same thing I'm telling you, this is the one pulled from all.
Okay, so he necessarily may not have the same.
You're not gonna have all his stuff.
Okay.
The only way we're gonna get that is to pay for a study like we did in 22, so that's something they're gonna discuss.
Okay.
So if you want one that's gonna match up with their descriptions on this,
Yeah,
because these descriptions on the sheets are the ones we were provided through the salary survey on our sheets.
okay,
And if they've changed these, then they won't agree there neither, so I don't really know.
okay.
But yeah, the only way to really get one is to do a full-blown study, to match it up to that.
Too time consuming.
Any other questions?
No thanks.
Mr. Paul?
I'll be the best.
All right, David, what pages are we on here? For the salads,
Ambulance starts on page 68, and he actually has a capital request on page 98, and they have a medical budget we'll get at the end. They've got the salaries on the board. His actual salary, and I didn't have it right there down, so I have to look at my
Save
index.
all day on P.
page 29.
What's their salary number there?
What the salaries are?
825, no, 826. Sorry, but I've only been on Springs Rock. Don't remember those.
All right, is everybody calling on? Mr. Moss, go ahead.
Good morning. So, obviously, the biggest challenge we have in our department right now is compensation for our employees. We're about 20% behind a lot of departments around us. We put in a market adjustment to bring us, where we tried to land was under Metro National Fire Department, but above smaller counties. So we try to line every one of those up, as you have here. We did put in for one additional ambulance. We have not added an EMS unit in the county in about 5 years. So that would be the Shackle Island ambulance, and put in staffing for that. In the White House area, we got a couple of maps. Looking to so right here, you can see all of our stations. Our biggest trouble area is right in here. Most recently, we had a call at Lee Road, Highway 76. We had an 18-minute response time to that, with everybody in quarters where they're supposed to be. Taking this route, you can see we can cover that area with one ambulance in the White House area. We'll also pick up part of the county that Robertson County is actually covering for us right now. So we put that in the capital. So that's, any questions about the compensation?
Well, the White House, the 18-minute, that's an area that Robertson.
It's not, that's an area in the county outside the city limits of the White House.
Okay, so
We're responsible.
Robertson only covers the city of White House.
Did we get that whole chart on the side?
Yes, sir, it was emailed with our.
I've got, here's, so I'm looking at, I think, Dave, we were going through this.
I put it on the far right, that way.
When we were going through this, my sense was that your request for the ALS, BLS, so paramedics and kind of line folks is actually pretty close. I know it's a good bump, but it's actually pretty close. I am going to press a little bit on maybe some of the pay around for the supervisor levels, though. They're all over. So, just a second here. So, let him get here.
We're trying to find that hourly rate. There it is. These are your hourly rate. If you put that on the okay, go on down. This will be the hourly rate. So I can pay a minute to figure that out. That's the rate we have
And I'm going to press here, and I want you to understand this is a professional thing. I'm not criticizing people's performance, et cetera, et cetera. I'm literally just looking at numbers. So if I look at an EMS director on, the mean of the EMS director, and again, this is the mean of the EMS, or the median of the EMS director, of EMS, that role across similarly sized counties, it's only taking into consideration the large ones, it's at $115,699, and if we do your cost of living, I guess you're already at 127, so you're asking, which is ahead of that, and you're asking to go to 149. I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but is there a what's
So Montgomery County, Montgomery County, that director is making 170, right? National Fire Department, my equivalent is 225.
National Fire, we can see who's actually responding to this survey.
They're in the front of the page. They're actually under
they're
here.
on the front of the page.
And national, they didn't count fire.
I'm sorry, 220,000 copies.
That's national fire.
That's correct. That's for fires.
No, that's for the EMS director.
But that's for EMS director at the
That's the
fire.
National Fire Department.
That's for the EMS director at the National Fire.
That's correct.
So they're, that's a bit, to be fair, that is a bit larger, but, are we saying there's just a lot of variance around here? It just seems to be, that EMS, he would be making twice what this is. Right. Okay. Any other items on that one? All right.
Do you have a business, is there a business degree, master's or something? What does the Davidson County guy have?
I think that all of our job descriptions are degrees or equivalent experience.
I'm trying, you know, maybe this, so I'm looking at shift supervisors, and I could be wrong. Again, I'm really, you know, I could be wrong. You can argue with me, you just did, which is fine. I want that. I'm trying to find comparisons here. So, you know, deputy chief, battalion chiefs, kind of these guys, they're at 100, you know, between 115 and 126 with all of these raises in there. And I see the average of or the median of what the closest thing I can find to it is an EMS shift supervisor. You know, is it 79,000, which is, you know, you guys are, your supervisors are already way ahead of that. I understand they're probably very senior, but you know, I'm trying to reconcile that. And again, I'm not poking. I'm just trying.
So, we have a compression problem within our department, and that's one thing that I've addressed here. So a paramedic is gonna pop out, right now, they're popping out with our supervisors. So whenever we have promotions, we have honestly little interest due to the pay. You know, there's no reason for anybody to take on more workload if they're not gonna be compensated for it. They can work on an ambulance and make the same amount of money. So we're addressing that.
So who are the folks who are leaving? Are the folks who are leaving are they your more senior people, or are the folks who are leaving, like, are the folks who are leaving, are they the like leader, you know, the battalion chief, that level, or are they
We have lost that group over the last few years, not just this year, but, you know, we're dealing with a problem here today that has been compounded over 3 or 4 years, or during COVID. So it's smacked us, you know, we're now losing, people, as hard as we were during COVID, by not addressing the pay. So,
and look, I get it. I mean, because I'm working in healthcare, and it's squeezed all across the board. I mean, I understand the issue, but I'm, you know, just trying to like apply this same rubric to everybody. And some of those hopped out. I mean, I have to press. Mr. Klein?
I'm confused about something you just said. Last month, we were way short on our ambulance drivers.
we don't have any ambulance drivers.
I mean,
We have EMTs.
the EMTs. The paramedics. They were the ones who were seriously lacking. Those are the ones who couldn't keep. Now they're making too much?
They're making so much they're helping their upper people off.
I didn't say they were making too much. I said they were making the same as the supervisors.
Okay, so you're saying the
Now,
supervisor?
you talk about employees. The ones that we are losing are the younger folks that haven't been here.
So, okay.
Paramedics, EMTs. They're having trouble getting new ones because the start rate's
Do we
too low.
have, and I was just trying to find it in here, do we fund, training, I know we do in-house training, do we do any of the training of all state, do we fund any of that, or how does that work? Maybe I've asked you
Yeah,
before.
so we do tuition reimbursement with a 3-year contract.
That's right, I'm calling that. So can you go through how the contract works?
So once a paramedic completes their school, they receive their certification, they come to us and they say, you know, it's costing $9,000. And we, reimburse them that money with a 3-year guarantee that they stay with us. If they do not work their 3 years, they pay it back.
100%. Do you do anything else besides paramedics? I've seen a job listing where actually they're just hiring high school students for $18 an hour to drive the bus, and then they pay as they go for their tuition to train them up to be a paramedic. So we get them on board and train them in-house and send them off.
So we're an A+ rated. And one way that we keep that is we do not have any drivers. Everybody is certified. So we would not use anybody that's just a driver.
I understand that. I'm just thinking we could get more employees involved.
Right. We work with the hospital department now. We help with their training to try and get those people on board as quick as we can.
But we don't want, okay.
Hey, John, what start pay did you put for paramedics in here?
It's $22.04, I believe.
Is it 2250 or 22?
$22.04.
I thought it was 2250, okay.
Or maybe with the COLA, it'd be about $22.50.
2250, and if you look 2000, and I know this counts Davison, Metro, and everybody, this is in 2023, your average paramedic started at, I'm sorry, their mean was 2301, so, and the thing is, there's a lot of compression everywhere, so it's going to, require something near that mean to pull them in, so.
That was good. When we were looking at this a couple days ago, and I'm looking at yours, and, it looked to me like the market adjustments that you had for your paramedics, and your, EMTs were pretty close. Like, at least, kind of around there. It was just the ones above that I had to press on.
What's your EMT start rate you put in there? So now
We can pull it all up.
That's all right.
You guys in comparison.
if you look at your AEMT back in 2023, it was 1772 for the medium, but you gotta remember we've passed by 2 years now.
Yeah.
Then you're saying how much, 18? So if you do 1863 minus 1772 and divide, that's a 2-year spread, which I don't think that.
So you're also asking, well, before we go into the new ones, are there any other questions on the current employee salary from everybody?
How much do you say?
How much is our overtime?
How much?
Yeah, I was just looking for it, I thought, looking for the line.
It's on that line over there.
Is it under the holiday schedule?
So when you talk about overtime, our employees are required to work overtime for the 24/48 shift. That's mandatory overtime.
So they're 5.4% above what the median was back in 2023.
But that's,
Well, that's median, that's just start to median too, so it takes 5 to 7 to get there, so when you take it's only a 5% increase and there's been a lot of inflation and the median, it's probably pretty close. I think it's pretty, that's what I was looking at, we're close to median. But, and then I've looked at some of the numbers from these others currently, so those numbers look pretty close. On the paramedics and EMTs, I can't speak on the other ones. No, I looked at was paramedics and EMTs.
So,
I didn't look at anybody else.
let me move real quick to so how many new paramedics, so what are you asking for next?
3 paramedics and 3 AEMTs for our ALS division. And that will be to staff an ambulance at our headquarters now 24 hours a day. We moved that one out. Gallatin is our busiest area, due to growth in the county. We try to keep our unit utilization below 30%, and all the Gallatin units are running 28 to 30% right now.
Let me ask you one. So you're asking for basically a new parking station.
Well, we have a station, we have the ambulance, we just need the staff.
Got it. Yeah, it's Amanda. Great. So let me ask you, what's your loss ratio look like? Like for what we're collecting? I'm looking at the revenue side now.
So our revenue, they just walked out, but we are above projections right now.
I mean, but what's your loss ratio? Like for all claims submitted, what percentage of that are we not collecting? Because I would have to pull that up. Because I know that there is a problem with, generally speaking, with claims collection for,
I met with our third-party billing company last month, and we are above all benchmarks for being 1 month. That's right. Well, we're doing everything that we can to bring that in. This year, we'll probably get about $9.4 million back in revenue.
yeah, I mean, I would be very interested to know, any third party is going to tell you that you're above benchmark, that you've outsourced.
Yeah.
And again, I know I'm right here. I'm just, look, we have these needs, and I'm not arguing on some of these, maybe some of them, but I'm trying to figure out how to get the revenue up. And so loss ratio is important here. Have we talked to these guys, have we dug in with them on it?
If we're losing any revenue, it's not because we're not doing something. The problem is, we bill out insurance, we bill out to patients, they're citizens in the county, and we can send it to debt collection. We can.
How is the process of this? I'm actually really interested in this. How are we going to capture?
All right, so what we do to keep things up is we try to bill day per day. Alright, so if we make a call today, tomorrow it's going to the billing company. They're staying about 3 or 4 days within us. Alright, so if we're the first ones to get the bill out, we get the first insurance money in before the hospital, before the doctors, everybody else sends it out. So we're very quick on that. But once the insurance pays whatever is required of the patient, we can't go after the patient anymore. You can't put that on a personal credit report.
No, I know that. No, I'm aware of that. I mean, I'm just thinking about the follow through itself.
Yeah.
So, I mean, do we have, so I go to I got a little dentist bill actually right now, so, I'll get like a text message. Does that happen? When, somebody uses a service, is there a follow through to like, hey, does that billing company do that? And I know I'm proud on this. I would just, if it's at all possible, I would really like to see.
So they go
what that
after,
looks like.
yeah, they go after the insurance companies and facilities. Patients, not so much, just because it is what it is, as far as putting on the credit report.
What is the commission for the debt collection?
So,
What is the commission for the debt collection? What do they ask?
well, actually, we reduced that this year from 4.25% to 4%.
Sorry, I know I was. What is the loss that our EMS operates at about 20%?
Well, I think it's been about the same percentage. I think it's like 60. Beth, if you click on the revenue sheet, and then there's one we track that for years.
We're always operating at a loss, so.
Yeah, because you've got certain things that contribute to that. It could be Medicare, rates, or tax.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see total pay, total claims,
Good
not
idea.
payments.
Patient gets patient charges. And then, I think they were ready before we keep that sheet. Oh, here we go. If you look, and there's some notes that are going to go to the right, these are very important because they look like they changed negative. Last year, health insurance expense was not put into the fund, into the department. So it's going to make that ratio a little better. So if you start here down, you can kind of look, the ratio has been fairly consistent. I think that's during the COVID maybe, because COVID a lot of people wouldn't ride. So what happened in 2024? That's when you had instability and all of that's been taken back out. You were going to do some construction.
So we're losing about.
You're losing about
35.
These years are a little worse because I think it's
61%.
All this says that we're consistent at some place in time. We could be really good, we could be really bad, but we're consistent.
Well, yeah, but that tells me is we're losing.
Oh, that's what happened.
A third of our claims. Correct.
Dispatch.
No, that's not claims.
Dispatch moved out.
This is expenditures too. It could be supply expense, electricity could go up. It's not just.
Well, David, that's true.
The reason they've improved on the ratio, this is 70% recovery.
So is it with Terry's point?
Well, it's got maybe over time, a little less because dispatch moved out over here.
So
The question that, Mr. Chuck and I are talking about is, I'm saying that this difference could be the electricity bill. This isn't just.
this is not just paid claims. This is not just.
This is expense.
This is your total expenses compared to the total.
All right, yeah. It's all in there.
This is all expenses compared to all revenues, and you gotta remember.
So that actually means that would tell me that our claims, is, well, yeah, but you can extrapolate that it's actually better than that. Because that's throwing all the operating costs.
There's a couple of things that's pushing this, your Medicare rates are
The
limited.
expenses are only gonna.
The maximum charge is limited by Medicare, and then the other thing is the quicker you want the response, the more outlying stations you have to have. So to decrease this number, there's a couple of things in play. One, you could, I think you've got a big maximum on your Medicare right now.
Yeah, we're running about 170% of Medicare.
So like I guess the maximum we're at charge, I think is pretty close. So really another contributing to that would be the number of these outlying stations you have to slow down.
Can we make apples to apples for just a moment and take out E, F, and G, and then see how we flow? I don't want you to delete them.
We'll just hit the
But
link
we'll
on
just take
there.
out, make out,
Just hit the link on there. Well, the capital needs to be in the regular budget. So just click right here and hit delete that, and then
you want to take, honestly,
this
capital out.
highlight these and delete.
Can we take E also?
Which one?
Capital.
Yeah, because that's.
All of these?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
just a
see what
minute.
you're trying to do, just for a second, because we're gonna see what happens over here.
But the ARPA is actually paid to be, the lower the number, the worse it is.
No, right, but most of them look like they got better.
But if you look, it kind of, after we take out health, it kind of went to 65, and you're back here 66, so it's really 65, 66. 70-odd years, so.
And what I want to come back to is one of the items that we've talked about continuously, and I asked you what your expenditures are off your revenue. It's column I there that I'm always talking about. I know we've talked about it in health and emergency law, the net difference. That's what I'm asking for every month.
But do remember these right here are skewed, because health insurance did
That was a long time ago.
Right, and
About 3 years ago.
18 is a little skewed because some of the costs actually went to,
So right now, with everything fully loaded
If
in
you're the
there,
private action,
we're at a loss
sector, you got business in there.
Yeah. I mean, I know we got national.
we built that building, but they're not building all these right now.
No.
Well, we may, I don't know.
I don't know.
But that's your all-in cost.
I guess, okay.
The ARPA funds is the Westmoreland station and the ambulances that work through that.
I know we're digging into this a bit. I would be very interested to see our actual claims loss and claims loss ratio. I would just be, so you kind of got a little bit of a proxy for it there, but I would be really interested to see what that
You want
is.
it
Give me what's billed,
I would.
Yeah, I would want to see it month
Like
over
the
month.
last
No, it's 2 years,
month over month?
month over month.
Yeah,
That's
I think they produce that.
Your company should be able to produce that.
His billing company.
It's the billing report.
Well, he gives it to us every year because we use it to produce the amount of receivables we think are collectible.
Yeah.
But I don't have it month over month.
Yeah, because you
But
do
they
that, you do that, you have, I've never seen that in our, sorry, Dave, go ahead.
Well, this takes it to a bigger question in my thinking. What is our expectation for the taxpayers? Do we expect to work at a 30 to 40% loss every year, or should we try to do something so that it's net neutral?
Do you want us to benchmark them to other counties on Red Tail? Because net neutral, I don't know if it's possible without cutting stations out.
Well,
I don't think net neutral is
No, it's
possible,
not possible.
but I think we should see where we're at, because we're sitting here, we don't know if we're to the good of everybody else, or how efficient
We
are we?
started benchmarking. The problem we run into is two things. One, getting data from county. We can get it off audit reports and various things, but then you end up with apples and oranges comparison. We have to be very careful. Rutherford County, for instance, is running a proprietary fund, which means they run it just like a business, so they put depreciation and all their expense in there, including 1 year they actually showed it breaking even, but I've got to go back and look. They may not be including something. I don't really know.
I just
If
want
I
to
usually don't
do
say
a
that.
report on their EMS.
How much is what's the percentage? 'Cause
I was so,
it was a
I was so
variance,
admiring their whole presentation, I can't tell you.
but I pulled Montgomery, and their percentage of recovery was much lower, but it didn't include all the capital, so we have to go ask them and try to see if we can get it. And just like our office, these offices are all busy. They try to be cordial to us, but they're not always the best response, because we're not their number one priority. Theirs is to do the work. So we're running into the problem. The benchmarking is very useful for us, but we're having the issues. That's why it's not in your report now. We're having issues of getting the data, and we're spending more and more time trying to get the data and harder time to get the
I
data.
don't see that this is gonna be, like, you're gonna break even on this, and I'll tell you why. So, one,
I don't expect to.
yeah, well, one, you can't go, Mr. Paulson kind of mentioned this, there's no really good way, there's a reason that loss ratio is probably, I wouldn't be surprised if it's around 30%, but what, I always ask, like, what's the hammer do you have? Like, you try to go after a patient for it, like, if they don't have it, you can't actually hit their credit for it, and there's good reasons for that. So, like, what are you gonna do? Like, you're like, okay, you owe me $10,000, and they're like, so what? What are you gonna do about it? And there's literally nothing they can do. So, like, that right there will make it such that I don't ever see this operating net neutral.
I'm not expecting to necessarily. What I don't know is, as a county, what is the expectation? What should we be expecting?
And can I ask a
Can I
question?
put out one more
I know before we had talked about it, you said, and we talked about the 2 other EMS that compete in the state. When I was looking on Indeed to see how much ambulance drivers make and stuff, I found other, and it's been a couple weeks, I found other entities that are also providing ambulance services here in our county. How many ambulance companies are competing against us?
Well, it's not a competition, it's 2 different businesses. Alright, so we are the 911 provider. We're responding to emergencies. That's our primary goal.
And they, none of them do that.
They do not do that.
So they would be like,
We used to.
if you have like a nurse home.
Right,
They'll
and
have
that's
their-
what our convalescent division does now, and that does help bring our revenue way up, because whenever we make those convalescent calls, they're scheduled, they get pre-authorized.
More consistent.
That's right, they're pre-authorized, pre-scheduled transports, so we know we're getting the Medicare, the teen care money, the insurance money.
If they make money, we may need to pull those back.
They make
So,
money.
well, the commission voted a
Because
couple
if they're
years
making
ago
money,
to
we
get rid
probably
of
want to pull those
that.
off.
They did.
Well, I've been trying to find that out. I can't find that out.
Oh, the commission voted to eliminate that. The previous EMS director asked us to stop doing it.
At one time, and then it went
I
back.
don't think that,
We can't kick everybody out, but what we do is we're a closed county, so everyone has to license their ambulances in our county. They have to have a brick and mortar building, and they have to report to us.
I think
So,
it's
and that's mainly for.
No, we gave up that control.
You can take it back.
Yeah.
We gave up that control, so we gave up that money. Yes.
Well, yeah, but I mean, there's also, I
They
mean,
must be doing it a lot, because they
Well-
can open new shops.
we got a lot, but to be fair here, I mean, you're also starting to talk and say, hey, you can't provide a service in a county, which, that's illegal. Like what,
Oh, I don't think so. I think
Yeah,
there's
like-
several counties that do
I think there's
that.
several closings, I think.
well, we are closed.
I think
No,
they're
we're
closed,
open.
period.
No, there's nobody out there doing every.
They're not doing them all.
In their county. Absolutely not.
Just doing great.
We couldn't keep up with it in our own county.
Well, we were doing
But
it.
we used to do it in Green. and-
All right, so we're,
to the stop.
so, I know and this is good, I mean, I knew there was gonna be some pressure on this one. So,
I did the resolution.
yeah, I don't wanna stop the conversation.
Just to point out something that may have skewed these numbers too, they used to be able to, several years ago, report failure to pay on your credit. And that will stop, so that is gonna make your loss
That's
ratio.
right.
Same reason the hospital now, Leah, you go down there, we'll offer you a discount to pay on the spot. Because we have assets, but they wanna go try to get them, they'd rather get their cash up
That's
front.
right.
So they did take a hit on that, and so did our court system. That's been, what, like 4 years
Yeah,
ago, maybe?
that's about right.
So that did skew your numbers a little bit, the collectability went down.
I just want to be clear to the whole table that my thinking is the greater we can increase our revenue, the more we can decrease our losses, the more net neutral it will become. So that was my only reason in asking the question. I don't expect to ever get it zero.
Yeah, got it.
But the closer we can get to that, the more money we can give everybody who works at EMS, so that everybody's happy and making a good living. That's my objective. It's not.
No, I understand.
We do have a delinquent collection company involved too. There's actually 2 still in the box, and the other one,
Just Fox, GSMC, and AMB, so.
So there's two for delinquent collections. There's,
Just one.
just one now. So we do have a delinquent collection company that does go after folks if it's economically viable at all. But if they have no money, you can't put it on their credit, and you can't get it back.
Then I think we passed the resolution last year, was it 7 years, and we write it off.
Yeah, we have like $10 million that you're never gonna be able to collect because people won't worth anything, and it's building on the books, a lot of counties. We need to do something with that.
Well, we kind of started talking about that.
We took most of it
We
off.
do, but, Mr. Isabel is correct on your kind of stuff. I mean, look, and I'm happy to go a little over on this one because it's one that could use some time. But,
Page 98.
it would make sense to go to capital projects and then talk about this medical exam. Maybe flip them in order.
Medical don't have much in it. The medical examiners flow through fees that they receive from the state to pay for training.
What page is capital project?
97, or 98 actually.
Not 98.
Okay. Mr. Foss, could you go ahead and give us an overview of what you're requesting there?
For the capital expenditures?
Yes.
Alright, so, what do we have over here? The only changes that we made from, what we had, marched out for the last few years is our ventilators. Our ventilators are pre-COVID ventilators. They have, they've become obsolete, no longer supported, we can't get them worked on. We would normally buy 4 cardiac monitors, we dropped that down to 2, and replace that for, the replacement of our 5 ventilators that we keep at the hospitals to transport those patients. So what else do we have here?
Stretchers.
That's just typical replacement every year. We have to rotate those out.
So the question, think, I know I had, and Jeremy just was asking me about it. What facility are you talking about here with the EMS construction?
That's the White House station.
White House.
Yes.
You know, a timeline, like when they want to start getting that going, the new construction?
We need that station today.
So you kind of want to get it.
Absolutely. We need to get moving on that. I mean, that area is growing so fast. Robertson County, they're doing a great job, covering part of our county up there. But that's about 30, 40 transports a month that we could get back and take care of our own people. And fix the problem like I was saying earlier, Highway 76 and Lee Road, we're 18 minutes away from that.
So they're gonna move out of White House altogether until they get back?
So right now we have
They're
an
gonna get
agreement.
back, are they gonna move out of White House?
They're not gonna move out, they're still gonna be there to cover their side of the White House. So White House.
We're just gonna move out of our Sumner County side, we're gonna tell them, don't come over to Sumner County.
No, we're gonna call them anytime we need them, and they can call us anytime that they need us.
So we're duplicating services.
It's not
It's a reciprocating.
Mutual aid kind of thing. So let me ask, what is it, how many personnel would need to staff that?
It'll be 60.
So you're gonna have, how quickly would something like that come online every day?
It would not be this budget year.
So, well, would it be next year? I think it would be next year, we have $1.7 million, I mean, maybe. Okay.
That's gonna determine those additional ambulances will be needed for this one.
So, yeah, that's the next question I asked. So we just ordered 6 new ones.
No additional people.
Do they go?
We're not requesting any new ambulances in this.
You've got a few.
When he said he didn't see many peoples when he was talking about them.
Yes, so, I just want to be super
What's
clear.
the total cost?
The 6 people that you are requesting now, as you've already said, that they are not the service, that's not the service, that's the service Galvin, I think, that's right.
Jeremy wants to know the total cost for those 6 people. Can you go?
Well, he's asking for 12 people. It will be. No,
Well,
6
right now,
people.
yeah,
I think
go over there.
we're about 30 ambulances down right now. This year's budget, hopefully.
What does it cost, the total cost for a total of 6? I'm guessing close to $1 million. A team. Yeah, a team.
We'll probably fix it up for the sun.
And their percentage of overtime, don't forget, the percentage.
We also got to put it up. You also got to put overtime lines out on the bench.
We're not, because right now we got $3 million in
There's
overtime.
3, and then there should be that 3 more than 3, 6 overtimes.
I know it's at least $1 million.
I'm thinking it was about 3 for just those 6, not the other 6, for the utility rooms.
What's your response time up there,
Where,
at White House?
so we do not cover the city limits of White House right now. Robertson County is.
They've got it. Robertson County's got a station right in the middle.
So we don't do
We do not do inside the city limits, but right next to the city limits,
6 people.
in the unincorporated area, we're responsible.
Right.
What do you call it?
18,
About 6
20 minutes.
Okay, we've got 13 ambulance stations.
600,000.
Outside of White House.
We've got 13 ambulance stations, and the budget's over $14 million.
The one that's there is White House.
But if you add a new ambulance station,
What's your goal target, I'm sorry, what's your goal target time? This is DOT.
8 minutes is not your standard.
that's your total
8 minutes
cost
is
to
good.
$2
Just
million.
those 6 people in overtime.
And Robertson don't come out of the city limits at all?
That's got
They will if we ask them to, but they, the agreement is just everything inside the city limits. That's what they're the primary
Yeah, but
responder.
it must take a piece
So
of
what
the
we do
station
is,
to run the
when we
station.
don't go over,
They buy your station,
have
your utility.
Portland,
We cover the city limits of Portland and
and we don't go outside of
$1
it.
million.
And we go outside.
It's about, the cost of the 6 people are $599,770, what's those, that includes
Overtime.
benefits, salary, overtime, extra
That's
holiday
just those
pay.
6 people. That includes the building, the maintenance, the ongoing administration, nothing.
600,000 a team.
That doesn't,
That's based on brand new.
that's not the cost to run the facility. That's just the cost for 6 people.
Right, that's just the team.
Yeah, that's a holiday.
$1 million to run it for a year.
That's why there's overtime, that includes overtime. That's an all-in buy cost for the whole thing.
I'm just saying, we'll have to see how these capital projects work out. All right. Any other questions, Commissioner Moss?
White House didn't.
Just one quick,
maybe I missed it, is there a deadline to get this set up with White House, like, is the land given, was that given to us by the school? other questions, Mr. Thomas? No. Okay,
I
I got,
still want to figure it out, where is the EMS, where's the closest one to White House?
The closest ambulance currently,
Yes.
so we respond from,
Robertson County's got one right downtown White House.
Robertson County does have one. It is their busiest ambulance, and it is often not there. So they only have, I think, 6 ambulances total. So whenever they're responding into our county, it's putting a little bit of a burden on them as well. So, Station 11. So here's White House, Station 11. This is the Shackle Island Station. They respond up to this area. The Millersville ambulance, they respond over here. And then actually to right here where the WH is for White House, this ambulance is the closest one.
What about the Cottontown? Isn't there one, isn't Joe?
We do not have an ambulance.
We don't have an ambulance in Cottontown?
That would be a future.
Yeah, I would think.
But right now,
Where is
this,
Rock County, if you were to put a doctor?
That would be the closest if we have one there. Okay, my mistake.
there's how we point those.
Yeah.
Any other questions, Mr. Moss? Thank you for bringing the visuals.
Yeah, the maps are great.
And the table all prepared. Okay,
EMA is on page 63 for operational, 98 for capital, and Ms. Brown will put it on the board.
here we are.
63, yeah, page 63, and she's gonna put his salaries on the board.
Okay.
And let me, if you need the A number, Jessica, if you provide them the A number for EMA, Jessica will provide you that number. Write them down, I can just look at them on the screen. Think about it. A27.
Good morning, Ms. Thomas. It's been a while, how are you? Nice.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so, most everything is the same as it has been in the past. There's an increase in insurance, and, we are, requesting, a position or two. My staff is sitting here, my entire staff is sitting right behind me there. So we've got 3 staff members, we do have some part-time members, and, day-to-day operations, obviously differs from what we've had since December, the December tornado and Sebastian surge. So we are kind of up and down in regards to how busy we are, although, there is a lot of need for operational, duties as well as training duties, so those are the positions we requested. And it seems like any year that we ask for a position, it's not the right year, and we just keep waiting for the right year, to try to increase our staff. We don't need a large staff, but, if you do benchmarks and you look at other, emergency managers across the state, for example, Rutherford County has 6 full-time personnel. They are just a little bigger than we are, but they do basically the same thing we do. So, so that would be probably the biggest thing, in regards to staffing. I would ask if we could remove the grant funding. There's a small portion that funds my deputy director and my administrative assistant. I'd really like to see that just stay in grants and put county funding towards that, in case that grant ever experiences problems and we have to try to find that money. So at some point, I would like to, cover that in county funding. It's not a lot. And then for, capital, we're trying to replace an 08 F-450 that is subject to respond anywhere in the county, anywhere out of state. The 450s we have been to, different places across the nation. The last time they deployed was to South Carolina. So they're subject on an EMAC request to go to Texas, Florida, South Carolina, anywhere
along that we really need to start updating drones. We've asked for some money for drones, and then we've got two older outboard motors that aren't really a priority, but we're going to start looking at replacing those sometime in the future. Yes, sir.
The 454, what year did you say it was?
It's not like with the 6.4 diesel in.
Okay, is there regulation on how old those can be before you have to get rid of them? So how many miles does that thing?
That one's got around 89,000.
89,000. Are they hard running miles?
Yeah, they're full of big trailer, heavy trailer.
Okay.
Typically run hard to Falls or to other states. So.
Okay. Are they burning oil or anything?
No, we do good.
Yeah, you know, your mechanics are great.
Yeah.
I'm just curious how worn out they are.
I just don't, I don't want to take off to Texas and the problem with that particular truck's got the 6.4 diesel in it.
Mm-hmm.
They're taken care of. It's a stock motor, hasn't had any work done to it, which is good. I'm just waiting for something big to happen to it, and it costs a lot of money to replace the motor.
In replacing that truck, what do you do with the older one?
Probably go to another department.
Okay.
So the last one that we did 2 years ago went to the sheriff's office to the motor. It's going to pull a motor trailer. So.
Okay. But it's less emergency. Its uses are less emergency than it is right now.
Reliability is not needed.
They're subject to run every day. Sweet water tower, it pulls a 28-foot trailer with all a sweet water unit in it. So they're subject to respond if we have sweet water flooding out. Yeah.
So the emergency level is the same.
This is something
Where you move it on to. Okay.
Your maintenance and repair equipment is an increase of 2,543%. What is going on there?
That's the radio. That is put in there. I don't know what they did last year. What line that went to? They can up with that. That is the maintenance and repair of the radio equipment, which comes back to us.
It's historically been in your budget, but last year you requested to break it out into all the other departments.
Yeah.
This year you request to put it back here because
Yeah, I don't know where it's supposed to go, and I don't want to leave it hanging out like that. Yeah, Jamie, that's what that is. That comes back to us.
Well, we also need to look at the revenue because we didn't get final numbers on that until like April 18th, so it was past the deadline and we didn't have enough time to change. We need to look at all that together probably this evening and see if we can unsort all that stuff.
Radios.
So on that, I invoice all the other departments in the county, and that comes back to us, and that's all, it gets reimbursed every year.
Well, for what your department does, for what the sheriff and EMS, and they get billed through their department.
Yeah.
We get reimbursed for what the cities and.
Every public safety agency in the county, schools, highways, those task force.
And then the fire departments get paid out of that extra fire department money you got. They requested us to pay.
Not this year.
They requested that, but that would be another increase for them to pay it. They requested the county to pay what they've been paying out of that. So the increase they have is in addition to you guys paying the fees, which that's just a request.
So that fees for the county fire has been coming out at $188.
So they're asking you guys to cover it, about $40,000.
The fire chief started this year for them to use that money as they saw fit, and they're going to have to either pay for it out of their budgets or request that money.
So they're asking you guys for another 40 to where they can spend the 138.
Yep, the fire department.
Okay. Well, we'll deal with that. We have a fire department.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey,
So this might be doubling up your salary.
question, I'm mostly looking at salaries here. Yours is actually $3 off what the median is, so no problem with that one, I don't think. I guess what I would ask here is, for us, if we had to choose, which of the two would you choose?
Operation and plan. Bill plan. Which plan? Plan.
Plan. Okay.
Well, maybe I'm reading it wrong or there's a number wrong. It's showing that your deputy makes more than you do.
That's because the request was put into that. The requested additional position was put into that line.
Oh.
As is the administrative
It
position.
may take two people.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You had told me, you said, hey, I appreciate the raise, but it's not, it's that request.
We got limited line items you can use in the state.
But you'll take it.
Right. So if we put that many line items, the budget would be so big, you
No, I just wasn't.
Yeah, that's
So
what that
it's gonna be two, so we can only have deputy directors and clerical, we can't have.
That line's just not in there.
There's other lines, but there's a limited amount of lines at the same time. If you look at the size of that budget document, if we go in there and break every person out for every little position, you're gonna have like a 700-page
That's why we asked
document.
for the org chart. So
You have a 700-page document if we go that direction.
Any other questions for Mr. White?
Org chart. Somebody's got to read it.
I can do all right now, yeah. We're a little busy, I really haven't had time to fill any charts, so, yeah.
Any other questions for Mr. White?
I have one.
Oh, go ahead.
On other charges, I'm just curious, I mean, it's pretty much the same across the board, but what would that,
The other charges are, our mass notification system, code red, the right part, the code red, mass notification.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
I think Terry, this.
All righty, Hendersonville Library.
I'm not allowed to talk about details.
Thank you.
They were asking what all was in the insurance, boys. Hey, Matt,
Well, no,
she had questions about Cam's insurance on what all was in there.
We have a question on your insurance.
What all is included in the insurance? What all does it cover?
Vehicles, portable equipment, accident sickness, for a volunteer.
So how much, I think her question is how much of it's to insure equipment and how much is
I
insured?
can write that down and send that to you.
How much is insured to cover your volunteers versus the equipment? Because generally, we don't insure property.
Equipment is basically under our insurance.
I do that.
Does volunteers?
Yeah.
Is that what the insurance is told you?
It covers them on that.
So if we're advertising on TV,
You're paying too much for your insurance, I'm just saying.
I've got all our volunteers on our Sumner County.
covered under, you covered under, now, I got one.
Well, that's what we have to see here.
Do we have,
That makes a difference. It'll take,
do we have?
Where's the library? We'll do break after this.
He's
Three,
No, if it's,
72,
I tell
73,
you, this,
834.
and that volunteers have additional insurance to cover their liability,
That's with us, we buy it.
we buy it. So
Right.
I'm asking you, we got enough,
That's a matter of opinion, that's kind of more big micromanaging. We can send it to risk management.
I mean, does it go through risk management?
No. He just bought it based on judgment. He can send you a copy of it, can you
This
send
just
it?
came up, if I could, if I
She's on
could
the insurance
call
board.
in to discuss it.
So,
We just want him to make sure that we have enough.
for example, we take several lightning strikes over the course of 5-6 years. And it's
Yeah, I'm not questioning that.
No,
I want to make sure.
$297,000 lightning strike costs us $250.
Could
So
you just,
here's the deal, we have different insurance if it's our county employees opposed to volunteers. I want to make sure we're covered, because that's a big risk.
since she's on the, she's the chair, I think you're the chair of the insurance board,
As
could you
always,
just
I'm always
email it to
ready.
Jessica and we can do it on that agenda? We can have the agenda for Tuesday.
Yeah, that's all I want to do.
It's for
And I want to, I just want to,
Hey, and while
make
we're
sure we
at
have
here,
enough.
can we also add to that the questions I was asking about, recovering, like loss ratio from EMS? Because I mean, it's an
I
insurance.
wouldn't, that would be,
No, that
It's not ours.
that could be financial.
I know it's
No,
not,
it's
well,
not.
maybe
Financial
financial
management.
management. We'll do financial management, all right.
which would be.
So aside from that, our Swiftwater team was on a high unit training, and we destroyed one of our inflatables, and it's gonna cost $250 to replace a $3,500 rate, so.
Could you just send, because I'm going to tell Kim, and she's going to, can you reach out to him and just tell her
I'm
that?
gonna send that to Jessica.
Thank you.
Jessica does the agenda. She does the agenda.
Any other questions, Ken? Thank you, sir.
72.
So we're doing this on you're on page
72.
Yep.
72.
Page 33. Page 37.
The volunteers job in our county.
She's on page number 72, Chevy County.
No, they can't.
And her, request on the board,
We don't know.
and I think there is a new request for doing the board, yep.
Okay, go ahead, ma'am.
We have a couple of requests from new employees, one being a children's services librarian. Our stats from the state, we've grown substantially as far as our programs and what we're offering to our community. Last year, and our total number of circulations, so how many transactions we did, according to state reporting, was around 180,000. This year, we're at 318,000. We've moved from 50 programs a month to 159. So our reach into the community has grown substantially. With that, with the children's services librarian, we're trying to keep our ratios of adults and children within the same area to be a little bit more controlled. They're getting a little overrun. Adult services librarian, we technically don't have anyone who's functioning in that position to handle all the adult programming. This has become a thing that whoever is available is having to jump in and do it. President Trump and I need to be here with other librarians, but I had to work till 8 p.m. We just don't have enough staff to cover it currently. There are 2 part-time positions that I'm asking for. One is just a floater for those times that our full-time people are sick, on vacation, or out. The second one, we're looking to hire specifically for janitorial. Currently, we're using a contract with an outside service. It's costing around $25,000 a year. They only come once a week. With the numbers that I've told you how busy our building is, we really need there's more than that. By having a part-time person and hiring them in at that basic $13 an hour, performing 20 hours a week, we can save around $8,000 and roll that into custodial, kind of giving that a wash. Also creates an environment where the person who's doing the cleaning is actually invested in doing a good job. Since we are very much a public space, we're trying to keep things as neat and clear as we can. That's all we're asking for as far as personnel. Currently, we have 12. 10 of them work around 25 hours. 2 of them are seasonal and only come in for holidays, fall break, spring break, and summer time. They're both college kids.
You said you didn't have an adult services librarian. I see one right there. The library clerk number 1.
James Brim, he is working in the information technology area and cannot fulfill an adult service area. Everybody that I have working right now not only handles the circulation, but also a program. In addition to a program, they're also doing a project. For instance, James works the information counter 40 hours a week, plus runs a chess club, a Lego club, and works on a program called One to Tech, which teaches senior citizens or other people who don't understand technology how to use their devices. So he's pretty stretched. Everybody we have is pretty stretched right now. Actually, how many hours a week are you open? We're open to the public 40 hours a week, with the employees being able to work a maximum, or we're open for employees 45 hours a week.
So with these additional, so I think a couple were open, most were open 40, a couple were open 44. With these requests, are you able to go to 44 hours?
Yes. We are wanting to start opening at 9 a.m. to the public rather than 10 a.m. as we have a lot of teachers, homeschoolers, they need to come in a little bit early. So we are wanting to open 1 additional hour for each day that we're open.
Oh, so you want to do an additional hour?
Mm-hmm.
If you recall, the other year when they asked to open additional hours, the city of Hendersonville made an offer to pay half of it at that time.
Well, I know, and there's
Now we're talking.
now we're in a different, now we're in this kind of fight with the city.
But I mean, the reason that was brought about is because basically the city's been paying the same amount on the libraries for perpetually.
Yeah, no, I know. So, you know, I'll just kind of look out of the bag. The reason I hadn't been asking some of the questions, thank you, Terry, for asking it, because some were at 40, some were at 44. I was actually trying to see if we couldn't get folks across the county up to, I'd give basically everybody an extra half day open. However, after yesterday, That's gonna cost us just to keep us
This one's
where
fine.
we're at.
Hendersonville's fine, they're already making above the threshold.
I was just
The other one's
Yeah, the other one.
rethinking it myself. I've been trying to keep up with the hours
That's
as
our
we
biggest
go along.
Yeah.
One of the hard things for me has been the part-time, because what's a part-time, 20 hours or 30 hours? And I mean, I mused over that yesterday.
Yeah, I remember.
So I'm thinking, can your payroll system tell me how many hours of employment we had at each library last year?
Yeah, we can print a report, but the thing is, you're under affordable care, after I believe 30, we have to
Oh, I
provide
know.
health insurance.
I know.
Our
part-time
rule used to
for
be 32 for the health and 32 for retirement, but it's all changed to 30.
30.
Because to make it consistent, because it was so confusing, so it's a 30-hour. The problem you've got is the county may want to consider basically not funding 30-hour full-time positions. If people has 4 full-time 30-hour positions versus a 40-hour position, you're paying a lot more on health insurance. You're adding a whole new health insurance plan.
Yeah.
And there's some offices that have 32-hour employees. I forget which ones they were. So who was that? Is it Ag? Maybe. There's some that have 32-hour employees.
I have a couple questions for you. So these are gonna be the pressing questions. And again, I'm gonna be a broken record, I have been, not saying we're gonna approve these. I think it's probably, 50-50 at best. But if we were to, I've got two questions for you. If we were to approve, and we were only able to approve one, which one would you want? And the second question is, would you rather have those approved, or would you rather have, some potentially additional raises above what you asked for your existing staff?
First choice is raises for the staff that's currently working. It gives them a market value and also honor their time and their passion that they're doing. I would settle for an adult service librarian and my custodian.
Okay. And again, I'm just asking what your priorities are. So, appreciate it.
92,000. What kind of turnover do you have? Because I mean, seat part-time too. Zero?
Since I've been director, we haven't ever done that.
Well, it's just 1 year, but I mean, thank you. Good job.
I just have a hard time comparing, like, maybe the other libraries didn't know to request an employee. Maybe they didn't think they could get one. I'm just trying to.
Well, in their defense, we're level 5. We have to operate under certain state standards for what we're offering to the public as far as being able to provide that digital literacy. We have to provide those types of programs to maintain that level 5 status.
What happens if you don't have that status?
I don't know, it feels bad.
So there's no, well, that's my point. I mean, there's no,
So
you
we
don't
don't
lose
really
any grants or
gain
anything.
anything from having that other than maintaining the title. And currently, we're the only level 5 in Sumner County and one of the biggest.
I'm not saying we want to lose it. I'm just saying that, like,
Right.
what's really the downside?
We get more opportunities for training. We get more opportunities for just growth, being able to reach out for certain grants, getting more from the state as far as, like I said, with the training and stuff for my staff. Most of my staff aren't just college kids. They're coming to me with bachelor's and master's, and we're definitely not paying them what they're worth, but they have a heart for service. And we don't want to lose them.
Are there levels for the other libraries also? Are they like a 4 or?
Correct. Gallatin is a 4. I believe Portland and Millersville are 2s, and Westmoreland is 1.
Based on
It's based on,
circulation?
well, it's based on circulation and total population.
Any other questions? Okay. Well, we are 5 minutes ahead of time, and I'm going to use this 5 minutes for everything. A small break. Thank y'all.